and welcome to episode 51 of a Thai football podcast with me, Dale Farrington, sitting in my living room in Kendal.
And me, Rob Bernard, at a night market in Minbury, Bangkok, waiting for the bar to open.
And how long have you been waiting for it to open, Rob?
Well, I came in eager anticipation of a 4 o'clock open, and it looks like it's going to be nearer 5. But I'll keep looking across, with that, I'm desperate for a beer look.
You're one of these blokes who's banging on the door half an hour before official opening time then, are you?
Oh, I do miss those days of queuing at 11, Dale, yeah.
Yeah, I remember it well.
Especially on a match day.
As much as I'd like to reminisce about the old days, I suppose we better drag ourselves into the present. What have you been up to this week?
Well, I've been down in Bangkok. We brought my wife's mother and her sister on the first ever flight down from Mubon, which was just wonderful. And then we did a Grand Palace and River tour on Saturday. Sometimes we moan about things, but when you see two 70-year-olds who lived there all their lives doing things for the first time, it really is humbling.
Did you manage to get them along to a football match?
No, I didn't take the whole family to football, no, but I found a northern correspondent instead. I managed to sneak 3 games in, well, 2.5 in my case.
And we're going to hear about them now. So this one was the first. Now, I'm going to ask you to introduce it because I'm still very confused by the names of the 2 participating teams. So if you don't mind, can you introduce your first Roving Report of the week, please?
Oh, you put me on the spot there. It was the University Cup. It'll all be in the intro when we get to the games. And thanks a lot, Sven, for posting these games on, giving us all alerts. It's been a 24-team competition, all the universities. I think they progressed to the quarterfinals at the end of the month. But there's 2 games, and I chose the ones at Kasetsart with my special guest.
And let's hear all about it now.
Rob's Roving Report.
Well, Dale, a bonus edition of Rob's Roving Report. I'm down in Bangkok for the week with the family, and the opportunity has arisen of a Friday game. Who'd have thought it? It's the Chang U-Champion Cup, which is basically a university competition. I went to some games in it last year at Kasetsart, and today I'm at Kasetsart University, Whitley I Kasetsart for you Thais. And the game I'm going to see is part of a double-header. I'm going to stay for the 2 o'clock. I might see a little bit of the 4 o'clock, depending on my schedule. I've got an appointment for a dinner at a friend's house, which I will not be turning down. And my game will be between Kasetsart University and KMUT-NB, which is the King Mongol University of Technology in North Bangkok. Yeah, I managed to get through all that. So 2 o'clock kick-off, admission will be free. Always nice to get out and see some football. Yes, Kasetsart Stadium, Dale. And quite easy to get to from anywhere in Bangkok with the improved rail networks. The Red Line recently opened in the last few years, goes to Bang Ken, which is probably a 5-minute walk away. That goes down to Bang Su and joins up with the MRT. Or alternatively, you can get the Green Line to the station handily called Kasetsart University. But to be warned, it is a good 20-minute walk through the canvas. There are free buses during term time. Along with that, there's buses along the main road outside and lots of eating and drinking. Not so much alcohol, but plenty of coffee, soft drinks, 7-Elevens, cafes, etc. to feed the students. So yeah, it's a good venue to come. What it'll be staging next year remains to be seen. But one of the better grounds with a track round, I'd say. The good views in here, good steep sands. Well, less than a minute into this clash and the hosts have gone 1-up. Kasetsart University. Corner from the far side, free header, 1-0. Well, a bit of a hold-up here, Dale. The goalie for the visitors taken off on a stretcher. He was very slow off his line, nearly as slow as Ishii's changing his tactics last night. Collided with the forward. He's had to go off as the goalie. Another one's trotting out now. He doesn't look very big. We'll see how he gets on. His side 1-0 down here against Kasetsart. Quite a long delay there. Well, we had a bit of rain here at Kasetsart, so we moved up into the media area, very apt. But it's 1 each on 35 minutes, a carbon copy of the opener. Corner, free header, headed down into the corner of the net. 1-1. Another goal here at Kasetsart, and it was a cracker. The number 23 for KMU-TNB swiveled on the edge of the box, rifled a half volley, Wearing number 23 is not shaped like Michael Jordan, that is for sure. But he's put that away with aplomb, left the keeper with no chance. 2-1. So, full time at the end of the first game here at Kasetsart this afternoon. And the visitors, KUMUTNB, have taken the spoils with a 2-1 win. But they owe a massive debt of gratitude to their substitute keeper, who's had a splendid second half, made 3 fantastic saves. Forwards could have perhaps done better, but you can't take anything away from the stopper. I thought he looked a bit small when he came on, but it didn't restrict him in any way. So a very entertaining match. Marco, your thoughts?
Good game, yeah. Probably a fair result in the end. Obviously, like you said, the goalkeeper, he kept his team in it. And yeah, they got the win 2-1. So yeah, fair result.
Great stuff. There's another game to come. Right, so second part of the double header, and a late dinner appointment for me is allowing me to cover the first half when I'll hand over to my trusted colleague. And in this encounter we've got the RMUTT, not being led by Mick Lynch. It's the Rajamangala University of Technology Tanyabury, and they're up against Rajapruk, who are from we don't know where. Marco doing his best. Oh, he reckons Laxey. So, they've just come down the road. Should have a lot of support then. Late kick-off because the other game overran a little bit. I'll see the first half, as I say. Well, it's been pretty stale stuff, Dale, in this University Challenge. But we've just seen a goal. The side of Ratchapruk have just gone one up. Forward took the ball from the halfway line. He had 2 men in support but went his own way and rifled into the bottom corner after some pretty poor finishing earlier, it has to be said. The MUTT forward seems to have gone on strike at present. I'll be getting away in a moment. I'll be handing over the last reports of the day to Marco.
Half time here at Kasetsart, and it is 2-0 to Rajprek. We got a goal just before Rob left. The number 9 for Rajprek, blonde-headed lad, picked the ball up about 6 yards out and blasted the ball home past a static RMUTT defence. It really was a lesson in how not to defend. So yeah, the game's come to life really after a pretty boring opening, so hopeful of more goals in the second half. Well, we've had about 10 minutes of play in the second half, and Rajprek are 4-0 up now. They've added 2 goals since the break. If the RMUTT students were given a lecture at half-time about how to defend, then it went straight in one ear and out of the other, because they've been woeful at the start of the half. And if the scoreline keeps going up as it has been during the half, then we could be getting towards double figures here, and Rob's University Challenge reference could be the old starter for 10, I reckon. The full-time whistle has blown here at Kasetsart with the scoreline Rajaprek 6, RMUTT 0. The margin of victory could have been far greater, but for some terrible misses and some decent saves from the RMUTT goalkeeper. I think my end of match report has to be A- for Rajaprek. They scored 6 goals, got the 3 points, but probably should have scored more, to be honest. So I think they get an A-, and RMUTT get an E. Must do better. So that's all from me in the fading light of Kasetsart Stadium. So it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Rob.
Brilliant stuff. I thought Marco picked up the baton really well there, coming off the bench to finish your second roving report of the day. But it sounds like you had a great time.
Well, it's great, isn't it, when you can find something to do on a Friday afternoon. It just shows the season doesn't really end in Bangkok. It's a magnificent city for football if you're prepared to drop down a few levels.
The city that never sleeps.
Really, football-wise.
Yeah, which is good, isn't it? Like you say, if games are out there, if you want to seek them out, and there's always plenty of information available now on social media, various people posting when games are on. So yeah, get out and watch some football if you're in Bangkok or Greater Bangkok. And you did that again on Sunday. The dynamic duo were out again at another game, and this one was at the Bangkok University Stadium. Last week you reported on the first leg of the semi-pro championship playoff final between Roi Et and Dome, and this was the second leg, and we're going to hear all about it from Rob and Marco now.
Rob's Roving Report.
Right, so the second Rob's Roving Report of the weekend, Dale. And I've got Marco with me again. We've met at Zia Rangsit after a ride on the SkyTrain and got the bus up here to Bangkok University Stadium. It's a nice enough stadium and it looks like there's quite a few come down from Roi Et. So the first leg here in the semi-pro final went the way of Roi Et PB United. They beat Dome FC 4-1. In a really good performance. I was privileged to be up there last week. And Dome were no mugs, but I tell you what, Roi Et were a good side. It can be very interesting to see how this goes today. You'd guess that Dome need an early goal. Anyway, we're going to walk around. The Roi Et drummers have just come over onto the popular side. Give their team some vocal backing. We'll see how we go. Yeah, Bangkok University, the venue today, and quite an easy ground to get to. It's on the same road as Thammasat, north of Rangsit. Choice of 3 or 4 buses from Zia Rangsit we've got here, and then it's a bit of a walk through the student complex, but easy enough and quite pleasant. Some amazing facilities, and what a turnout from Roi Et. There's lots of them here. There must be a couple of hundred of them come. Fantastic support.
Hello.
Well, we're just about past the halfway mark in the first half of Dale, and it's 0-0 here. Not a lot in it, Marco.
Not really. I think Dome are passing the ball around well, but not really threatening enough. Obviously, they're 4-1 down, so I think they need to go for it a bit more. Roi Et, kind of a bit sleepy start from them. They haven't really got going, but like I say, they've got 3-goal advantage. All the onus is on Dome.
And a tremendous turnout of away fans.
Yeah, probably about 700, I reckon. Loads of Roi Et fans. Good atmosphere, yeah. Not the best start in terms of the game, but it's all boiling up nicely, hopefully, in the second half.
So 0-0 here after about 25 minutes. Well, the refs ordered a drinks break after half an hour, and just before he did, what a chance that was for Dome.
Yeah, they had 2 men over on the far side, and the lad absolutely spanned it over the bar from about 10 yards. A dreadful miss.
Yeah, he even had time for a first touch. Can't understand what he did, really. He's a reasonable player in the first leg as well. So yeah, still 0-0. But warning shot there for Roi Et. They can't take their eyes off it. That was terrible marking to create the chance for Dome. Well, it was been coming, Roi Et getting into the game ever more since our last update. They hit the bar with an effort, the keeper pushed one behind, and from the resulting corner, a header towards goal, headed up to his own net by a defender on the line. Nothing he could do. 1-0 Dome. The question on everyone's lips, or at least 2 of us, will Madam Pang be here to present the trophy?
And question number 2, will we be able to get a beer at our side?
Well, the fans of the Squirrels are going nuts here. 2-0. And I tell you what, there's plenty of fortune about it. The number 9 cut inside. His shot was destined for who knows where. Hit a Dome fella on the side of the head, flew into the net. Keeper wrong-footed. 2-0, that's it. Done and dusted. Making easy weather of it in the end. Although, to be fair, Dome came very close just after the break to pulling one back. But it would have been too little too late, in all honesty. They're being outplayed here by a fine outfit. Well, have we spoke too soon? It's 2-1. Dome have grabbed one back from a set piece. Poked home by the number 9.
We were pontificating before about the away goals rule, so who knows? It's goal out of nothing really, wasn't it?
If Dome win from here, I'll buy a beer for a year now. Well, we swapped sides for the second half, getting a nice bit of sun on our faces for the last few minutes of this encounter. Probably about 10-15 to go.
And by the way, we didn't get a half-time beer, if anyone's interested.
No, we've got a thirst ready for when we go to the night market after the game. So still 2-1 to Roi Et in the closing stages. So that's the end of that, and the end of the domestic season to all intents and purposes, apart from the 2 cup finals next weekend. And it ends here today. Dome FC 1, Roi Et PB United 82 and probably about the right score and reflection, Marco.
I think so, definitely a fair result. I was slightly disappointed with the way Dome approached the game. I felt they were a bit tentative early on, should have gone for it, tried to get back into the tie, but yeah, overall you can't really argue with that. I think both teams will be a good addition to their respective C3 regions next season.
Yeah, I think that rounds it up pretty well. Both will do okay. I think Roi Et will challenge, especially if they had foreign players. So that's it from Bangkok University. We're going to trek back to the main road and find a night market that I seem to have come across with plenty of food, beer and music options. So until then, I'll speak to you in a bit, Dale. Yeah, in the end, Dale, it was a comprehensive victory, as we detailed in the report. And I stick by what I say, Roi Et are going to be good next season. On a side note, I believe Bangkok University Stadium is a favourite of yours. Is this right?
Oh, it is, yeah. I've had some good days out there. One or two interesting tales to tell. I think the first time we went was either 2006 or 2007, and I went on the supporters club bus from Chonburi. The driver had no idea where he was going. From memory, I think he even set off from Chonburi and turned the wrong way. He was heading south instead of north, which obviously set a few alarm bells ringing. And then by the time we reached Bangkok, it became clear that he just hadn't got a clue where the ground was. So at this point, we had about 5 or 6 people chipping in with suggestions, which way to go, where to turn, which just confused him even more. So in the end, he stopped the bus. I think, oh, wait a minute, before that happened, he'd gone up this very narrow soi and couldn't turn round. He was stuck up this soi and then when it became apparent we were going completely the wrong direction, he realised there wasn't enough room for him to turn round. So somebody had to jump off and direct him as he reversed a couple of 100 yards down this very narrow side street somewhere in Greater Bangkok. And then once we got back on the main road, some bright spark had the idea of asking a motorbike taxi driver where the ground was. Luckily, he knew. So the fan jumped on the back of the taxi and the bus followed the motorbike taxi all the way to Bangkok University Stadium, where we arrived about 20 minutes late. I mean, it was a great day out, just very typical Thai away trip, really, on a fan club bus.
Sounds like my Saturday with a different cast.
Yeah, there's definitely a film in there or a sitcom, isn't there?
Oh, without doubt, yeah.
And then the following season, it must have been, well, either the following season or 2 years later, 2008, that's when Peter Reid had just taken over the reins of the Thailand national team and he turned up. This was in the day when the home crowd was tiny and there were a lot of Chonburi fans there. And I think virtually every single one of them took it in turns to walk into the VIP area, I guess it was, where he was sitting, to get a photograph with him and an autograph. And that took some time because there must have been a few hundred of us there that day.
Was Reedy all right about that?
Yeah, he was more than happy to sign things and pose for photographs. Yeah, absolutely.
That's good to hear.
Anyway, moving on. We've now got an interview with 3 ladies from Venus FC, who are a newly formed women's football team based in Pattaya. Regular listeners might recognise Val on this interview, but she's joined by Jenna and Laura, who are both heavily involved in Venus FC. And it's a great new project, so we're going to hear all about it now.
A Thai Football Podcast. Interview.
So I'm joined today by Jenna, Laura and Val. Welcome along, guys. It's great to have you on the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having all of us here today.
Oh, you're very welcome. First up, Jenna, can you tell us all about Venus FC?
Venus FC was started 6 months ago now, and it was started as part of, I actually have a girls' football academy that I run for school-age girls between 9 and 18. From that, I was getting a lot of parents actually asking me, and particularly women, do you have a female football team? And at that time, I didn't. So it kind of started from there. It started from an idea that was generated by women asking me, can you do this? And we hosted the first session, and I was so nervous because I literally sent out the feelers to a few people. I had 5 core people who I knew would turn up, and the rest were, oh, maybe, is it going to be serious? And people were kind of saying that it was a possibility, but they weren't sure. Actually, I think on the first session, we got about 16 women there, which was amazing because female sport in Pattaya is pretty slim. It's hard to find these opportunities. So we were amazed that this many people were interested. And from there, the team kind of built itself, to be honest. Everyone was so committed right from the start. And we had back-to-back sessions all the way up to Christmas. And then after Christmas, it just continued. And it's kind of got bigger and bigger. And we've now got 22 girls who are signed up, but we have, 16, 18 every Wednesday for training. And we've actually set up a committee, which we talk about things that we're going to do in the community. We've hosted tournaments. It kind of has snowballed from there.
That's fantastic. So what kind of age groups are you dealing with?
I think 25 up to 40, 42. So there's quite a range of ages, and there's a range of experience as well, which is great because, the women that I had that were ready to commit at the start were like 5 women who had played football before. And I wasn't surprised about that. Once you've played, you're used to the game and, you're not as nervous about doing it. I was more concerned that women who had never played before wouldn't want to get into football, but we've got a huge mix. We've got some complete beginners, and then we've got people who are way more experienced and have played lots of football.
That's very encouraging. So, Laura, what was your role in all this?
I just went along with Jenna to the first session. We work at the same school and we've done some football coaching together. I've not really played proper women's football. I played a bit as a kid. I played like staff five-a-side occasionally, and just having the opportunity to play in a women's team was fantastic. It's like Jenna said, there's not a lot of women's sport in Pattaya, so it was a great opportunity, and I look forward to it every week.
I think it's great that you're getting a wide range of ages and abilities as well. Presumably you're drawing people from the wider community, are you now? Yeah,
definitely. We've got expats, but we've also got Thai girls who are from completely different walks of life to the expat community. So it's really encouraging. We're trying to market and get as many people on board as possible. We want it to be part of the community, not just the expat community. So that's one of our kind of goals, is to be accessible to everybody.
How are you reaching out to people? How are you promoting what you're doing?
So at the minute, we have an Instagram account, Tanya, who is a girl who plays football with us, and she's taken it upon herself, and she's really committed, and she's just growing our followers by posting about all the different things that we do. She's speaks Thai and writes Thai as well. She's just able to access lots of her Thai community, and then also she has another community that she can access as well. So she's really marketing things like the tournament that we played in. We market training, and we kind of do instructional videos on what we're doing within training. If we're doing passing or shooting, we try and market everything, and all kind of to empower women and to get more women to be involved in the sport and to, have a lifelong love of football and dedicate themselves to a sport.
You've mentioned you played a tournament recently. How do you go about arranging fixtures? What is it like getting other teams, and how do you find opposition, and from what area do you drag teams in to play you?
Yeah, it's not easy. That's probably one of the hardest things that I've come across because, like we said, women's sport in Pattaya particularly isn't huge. We haven't found any other women's teams to play here, but we have managed to reach out to people in Bangkok, and there's 2 teams there that will play us. And they're the 2 teams that participated in the tournament that we hosted recently on the 25th of May. We have had clubs reach out to us. So we had a Korean club actually reach out to us, and we're playing them on the 29th of June. So that's an amazing opportunity because it's an international match. And I never thought I'd get to the point where I could say that we were having an international match and a team coming over from Korea just to play us. And then I guess it's using contacts of people that I know within, the footballing community here, because I do a lot of coaching. I try and reach out and say, have you got any teams that might want to play us? And there is some female football around, some female amateur football around that we can access. There's a tournament in Hua Hin. There's a couple in Chiang Mai. So it's definitely something growing, and it's exciting that we're part of it at this time and can grow with it.
You mentioned these other tournaments in far-flung places around Thailand. How do you raise funds to attend these games? Is it self-funded, or have you got someone on board to sponsor the kit and sponsor your travel?
We actually have been really lucky in that I kind of did a big sponsorship push at the start of the year, and we managed to get a few sponsors on board, and that has allowed us to get kits. So we now have a team kit, and then we've got a training kit as well. But we're still at a point where, we're funding a lot of things ourselves. We're kind of paying as we go, and funding things ourselves. So if there's a tournament that's coming up, we're like, right, how are we going to get funds for this? It's a work in progress, but we do have some sponsorship that allows us to have certain perks. But yeah, it's not all through sponsorship. A lot of it is through personal payment.
This is a good opportunity to reach out. If you want to ask for sponsorship and give details of how people can get in touch, then this is it. There you go.
That'd be great. Thank you. So if you would like to sponsor us, I'm happy to talk to you about in which way you would like to sponsor us. It doesn't just have to be monetary. It can be other things as well. Then reach out, and our email address is venusfc23@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you and talk about what we can do. We're looking for a base at the moment where we can hold our socials and where we can come together and hold our committee meetings, etc., etc. So if there's any pubs or restaurants out there that would like to be involved in that, that's a way that you can sponsor us as well.
We'll put all those details in the show notes as well. So if anybody wants to contact Jenna, check in the show notes and all the details will be there. Yeah. Just before we move on, I'd love to know what Val's involvement in this is. So Val, a regular contributor to the podcast, although very much in Tim's shadow. Now's your chance to step into the limelight yourself and tell us how you became involved and what you do at Venus FC.
Well, Dale, as you know, I'm a big football fan, lover of the game, watched football pretty much all my life, born a Leeds fan. So Venus FC have brought a whole new dimension to my time here in Pattaya. And, it's just great to see a women's football team. And the enthusiasm of all the girls that play is great. I am a spectator. I thoroughly enjoy the games. We talked recently about the tournament that we had at school. So 2 Venus FC teams and 2 teams from Bangkok. Again, it was a really, really nice morning. Very chilled, watching, just some really good football. And now your involvement is, again, another interesting angle. Hopefully things will happen.
You've not been tempted to get your boots on again then and play, Val?
Yeah, I was on all hockey, netball, I guess. Growing up in Sedbergh in the 70s, we didn't have women's football teams. So it is, again, a great thing at how, the world of sport is changing.
Val has to be commended here for being our number one supporter. I don't think she's missed a training session or a match or anything. Yeah. And it's really, really good to have people there who support us. Even, we have a good group of women who come, but it's great to have people who are, can support us in different ways as well. And we really appreciate that. And it's great to have Val part of it.
I really appreciate when she brings me oranges and bananas. Half-time bananas.
So she provides sustenance as well as support.
That's it, yeah.
What are your plans for the future then? Obviously, you've outlined what you're doing now and, you've mentioned a couple of tournaments that you might participate in. But any thoughts to try and join a league? Is that something you'd consider?
That would be a dream of all of ours. We are definitely a work in progress in terms of our skill level. We came second in the tournament that we played, and we played against teams that have been established for 10 years. So we definitely have potential, but we need to focus in on our training a little bit more in order to be able to develop before I think we'd go for higher level competition. So we're still at a very much amateur level. Would you say, Laura? Would you say I was right there? I don't want to put it down.
I mean, the girls that have never played before are improving really, really rapidly, but we've still got a long way to go,
You know what? The one thing for me, just go back to what I said at the start, was like having the women commit. And that is something that has amazed me, that we've been able to create this community where we have like 18 women showing up on a Wednesday night for 2 hours of football every week, especially because everyone there is someone who works or is a mother or, they're really busy people. So that has meant a lot to all of us to kind of have built this.
What about the coaching side? Who's involved in that?
At the moment, we've got a wonderful guy called Terry. Big shout out to Terry, who coaches us. And he's fantastic. He's got a lot of experience in the male game. His daughter also plays football, so I think he's enjoying it, but I would say we're probably a lot to handle. 18 women all kind of with their own opinions and things like that it can be quite a challenge, but we're learning a lot from him, and he's a great coach, and we really enjoy having him part of it all.
He seems to have found his niche. That's great, and good to hear that Danielle's involved as well.
Actually, has been involved right from the start as part of the Girls Academy. She coaches there in the Girls Academy, and I feel like Danielle has been probably working with me we've been working together for 3 years, and now she's part of the committee and things like that. So she's been, I can't speak highly enough of Danielle in terms of how she's supported me and us on this journey.
So, Laura,
yes.
Just like to bring you in again, if I can, please. Now, just changing the subject slightly, I believe you went to watch Chonburi the other week.
I did.
Was that the first time you've been to a Thai league game?
No, I've been to a few with Val and Tim. I don't get to go that regularly, but if I'm free on a Sunday, it's a good time to go. But that game was the last game of the season, and they sadly went down, didn't they? But it was still a great game, and the atmosphere was great. The crowd was great. It was a good game.
Did you learn anything tactically or otherwise?
No, I can't say I did.
That doesn't come as a big surprise, to be honest.
I learned that Tim was a great commentator.
He seemed to be behaving himself as well.
Yeah, he was well behaved that day.
I'm not sure if you know, there is a Chonburi women's team as well. I just wondered if you'd thought about getting in touch with them and seeing if they could help out, or maybe organise a fixture against them.
I mean, I think that's a great idea. Like, if there's anyone from Chonburi women's team who is listening to this, then please, again, get in contact with us, because, we want to keep playing competitively. We are training to play competitively. We're training to get better. There is a social aspect of it, but we are training to get better. So we would like to play other teams and kind of play teams that are a higher standard than we are. Actually, on Wednesday, we had some guys down who came and played with us as well, which was fun. My husband actually broke his foot. He broke his foot, yeah. We play a tough game.
You'd probably just put a lot of people off now. Appealing for fixtures and then saying people break their feet when they're playing against you is not the best way to go, I don't think. But again, if anyone's listening and they can put you in touch with potential opposition, please get in touch, and we'll pass on your details to Jenna and Laura and hopefully arrange a few games for Venus FC.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be really good.
Is there anything you want to say in summing up?
Just really like to reiterate the sponsorship. If anyone would like to sponsor us, please let us know. If anyone wants to play us, or even support with hosting a tournament, if people are interested in kind of organizing a tournament together, we'd be happy to do that. Most importantly, if anyone wants to join us, if there are any like budding women footballers out there who haven't found somewhere to go, then please reach out, because it's a great community, lots of amazing women playing, and it'd be great to add more women to it.
Thank you all for joining me. And I do want to wish you all the best with this. It sounds exciting. It's fantastic what you're doing. And, if we can help out in any way on the podcast, please just let us know. And you're welcome to come back and talk about your progress, etc. So thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Laura. And thank you, Val. And all the best to Venus FC.
Well, do you know what, Dale? I listened to it and it was so good, I listened to it again. How great to hear such enthusiasm. Tell you what, there's no reason why there aren't more teams out there, is there? Hopefully we can reach out and connect with them.
Yeah, I hope so. It would be great to be able to line them up with a few games. As you say, it's great how it's grown as well. We heard how they've, started off small and it's developed into this quite serious concern, and all credit to them. I think they've done a wonderful job down there. Terry, who's the coach, is someone I actually know. Many, many years ago, he was my central defensive partner when we played in the old Bangkok Casuals League. So it's great that Terry's involved. He is a good guy, and he's very strict as well with the players, which is what they need. He's very disciplined, and he's got them playing really well. So yeah, fantastic effort, and wish them all the best. And if anybody is able to offer them fixtures, then please do get in touch. All the details will be on the show notes for this podcast.
And the other thing, guys, some of you must know some bar and restaurant owners. They're looking for a base. Surely we can help in that way.
Just let us know, or contact Jenna directly if you are able to help. Thank you. Next up, we are going to have an interview with Rob and Marco. Now, as you've already heard, Marco's been at a couple of games with Rob this weekend, and they did manage to find some time so that Marco could sum up the season just ended.
How are you doing, Marco?
All good, thanks, Rob. Enjoying the game?
Yeah, it's a good competition for ground-uppers like ourselves, giving us a bit of extra opportunity. Have you been to any more games in it?
I did. I was at UTK Stadium a few days ago to watch a couple of games. Saw Chu Lawankorn play there. They did pretty well. They're top of their group, and good match.
No, very good. We obviously had a chat about halfway through the season. Good season for you in all?
Yeah, not too bad. I had a few breaks from games. I was in Malaysia recently, and I got there just after the season finished, so 6 or 7 weeks without a game. But I reckon about 60 games in total in Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam and Thailand.
No, that's fantastic. Is there a game that stood out for you?
2 in particular. One in Thailand was Port 4, Muntong 3. That was a fantastic game because obviously Port fought back from 2-0 down at half-time, got 3-2 up, pegged back to 3-3, and then we scored a late winner. And also another one, very similar game, 4-3 as well. It was Malaysia against Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan were 3-1 up with 20 minutes to go, I think it was, and Malaysia fought back and won 4-3. So 2 very, very good games and exciting endings to both matches.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't hear the cheer from us in Sisaket when the winner went in against Muntong, I must admit. And obviously you try to get to some new grounds. Have any stood out in the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think 2 again in particular, one in Thailand and one in Malaysia. In Thailand, it was Tin Sulanon Stadium in Songkhla, which I actually sent a question into the podcast and I asked which ground you'd most like to go to, and Rob said Tin Sulanon. And I hadn't been there at the time. That would have been my answer, and I finally got around to going there. So it's a good stadium. It's being redeveloped for the Southeast Asia Games. Is that next year or this year, end of this year?
I'm not sure.
Or maybe starting next year, I'm not sure, but it's being redeveloped. There's putting new seats in there, and it's a lot nicer than I thought it would be, and it's close to the beach. Songkhla itself's a nice place, so it's kind of a good all-round package, really. So the only downside was that I think there was maybe 1,000 there, and the capacity is 25,000-30,000 maybe. So it would be nice to see it full, but that's for another day. And in Malaysia, I went to Bukit Jalil Stadium, which is the national stadium. Capacity is 80,000, and again, there was maybe 20,000 there, which is still enough to make a good atmosphere. But again, it's slightly disappointing it wasn't fuller for that game against Kyrgyzstan.
I've been to that, but they wouldn't let me take photos. There wasn't a game on. I went inside. I was in KL waiting to come up to Thailand. And I'm bowling an over at the moment, like Shane Warne in the direction of my wife, who's got relatives in Hat Yai. And seemed quite pleased the other night when I suggested we go to visit them. Yeah. And I said, how about a seaside break in Songkhla?
I could highly recommend it.
Well, it's out where the googly's coming from. Yeah. But it'll involve a match day, I can assure you.
Save that for the season. Save that for the season.
For sure. And what do you make of Port's season overall?
I'd say kind of how I would have expected. If you'd said to me at the start of the season, I would have said second or third, something like that. A decent cup run, but not win anything. That would have been my prediction, and it's essentially what has happened, hasn't it, really?
Are you happy with the Willem Motta transfer?
He's a player I don't really like, so he's one of those players that if he plays for your team, you love him, and if he plays against you, you probably hate him. So I'm hoping that will reverse once he pulls on a Port shirt. But he's a bit, if you pardon my French, a bit of a shithouse. Well,
there are rumours that there might be another one like that.
He's another shithouse pop. As I think I said to Jim of Port Sampit, we're putting together my Rogues 11. So we're not going to win many friends next year, I don't think. But that's nothing new there anyway.
No. Yeah, great season for action, obviously, Marco. What do you reckon was the best goal that you've seen scored?
Best goal, Bangkok FC. And it wasn't necessarily the quality of the goal, but I think it was a goal that summed up the ethic of the team, because they were playing Army, and they should have had a penalty, and the players just got on with the game. A lot of teams, they would have just crowded the referee, got in his face, but they got on with the game. 3 of the players chased back, won the ball back, laid it off to the Japanese midfielder Kojima, and he smashed it in from about 25 yards. I felt like that it was a good goal, and it's kind of emphasised the work ethic of the team. That was a good goal.
Yeah, they're a good side, aren't they?
Very good, yeah, very good side. It'll be interesting to see how they do in T2 next season.
I think the Bangkok and Sisaket will be in the playoffs, if I'm honest.
Okay, yeah, good prediction.
Yeah, your best fan experience?
I think in Thailand it was probably when I went to watch a few games in the south, and particularly obviously Pattaya game was a fantastic game against Nari United, and Satoon as well. I think it was just kind of a bit different. I think in Malaysia I went to watch a game it was at Kedah, but I was walking to the game and I fell into step with the Perak fans as they were walking to the game, and they had flares going, they had all the drums, and yeah, there's probably a couple of thousand of us, and we all kind of walked to the game as one en masse. That was really good. That was an excellent experience.
No, that's good, yeah. And you were quite taken with football in Indonesia, were you?
Well, it was my first time I'd ever watched football there. I was in Bali for a few weeks, and I watched probably 3 or 4 games there. And unfortunately, the ground wasn't as full again as we mentioned before. The ground wasn't as full as I'd liked, because I think there was some of the supporter groups were boycotting matches because of the ticket prices. Normally, I think the season before they were getting maybe 10,000, but the games I was there probably 3,000 or 4,000. But there was still enough people in there to kind of make some noise. And I stood with what was left of the ultra groups. I stood with them behind the goal. And it was all right. It's a good atmosphere. And it was, like I say, the first time I've watched football in Indonesia, so another one to tick off the list.
No, great stuff. Any plans for the next few weeks?
Not really, just playing it by ear. Got games in this competition, haven't we? And maybe the odd women's league game, but there's not a lot else. There's a Singapore game. I've not got a ticket for that, but might be one of those. Head down there and see if I can get a ticket. But yeah. I believe most of the tickets are sold out, but I'm sure there'll be plenty for sale around the ground.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, your thoughts on the Thai league? It's obviously been very difficult, a tough bedding in period for the new board and everything, and what with the financial situations at a couple of clubs, this one included, Kasetsart. Not easy, is it?
Not really, and I've been watching football in Thailand for 15 years, and nothing really changes that much. It's the same sort of issues seem to crop up every couple of seasons, even every season. We've had a couple of golden oldies recently with the issue with Isan United. That's still going along. I don't tend to get that involved in the discussions and that kind of thing, because, like I say, we just sort of go around in circles with these things, and nothing really changes. I don't expect it to, so therefore I can't really be disappointed.
That's not a bad attitude.
Yeah. You could argue that's a defeatist attitude, but I think it's quite a realist one.
No, I think it's our northernness, because I'm very much the same. Yeah, there's plenty to enjoy it.
It is, exactly. I enjoy it for what it is. I enjoy it for what it is. Yeah. You're not going to see brilliant football. You're going to see the odd good game. You're going to see the odd decent player, but it's going to be, you kind of know, I know what to expect. Therefore, I'm never really disappointed.
No. It's a day out as well, isn't it? Finding different ways to get there and different places to eat and drink.
You meet new people along the way as well. That's kind of what I use it for. I don't take it that seriously. Even port, I don't really take it that seriously, to be honest.
And that's a good question for you to finish with, mentioning food. Is there anything that stood out? I know you said the barmies earlier in the season.
Yeah, that was the one, the barmy. I went to Perak in Malaysia a few weeks ago, and I had a lovely mutton curry and chapati. I don't know whether you saw on Twitter.
I did.
Posted that. Lovely. I'm not that keen on the kind of stadium fare in Thailand. I generally try and eat well before I get to the match. Yeah, I think definitely in Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, the food outside the grounds is a lot better.
A bit to learn then.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Lovely to see you along and catch up.
You too, Rob. Yeah, great to see you again.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Marco. Great company at both games, and he talks a lot of sense, doesn't he, Dale?
He does. I mean, I've known him a long time. He mentions, that he's been watching Thai football since 2009, and I can remember meeting him that season. I think I said the last time he was on, he was half naked in the port souvenir shop trying on shirts. That was my first meeting with him. We had chatted online prior to that. That's an image that I can't really get out of my head. But yeah, you're spot on. He does. He talks a lot of sense, and what a life he's living. He's just having a wild time, isn't it? It must be great being able to do that.
What, going to a night market with me?
Oh, of course, yeah, that as well. I didn't actually mean the football, but sure, going to a night market with you, as I can testify, is great fun, Rob.
Thank you very much for the recommendation, Dale. I am available for bookings.
Yeah, contact us via the podcast. So has anything else caught your eye this week?
Yes, it has. The Thailand against China game, Dale. If ever there was an opportunity lost.
Now, I didn't see this due to the old 4-letter word. Those of you out there who are familiar with the works of Cilla Black will know what I'm talking about. But I was trying to follow as best I could on Twitter, and at one point it did look like we were going to get the win that we needed. What happened?
The first half, they were very unfortunate. The shot that hit the corner of the bar and post. And then they missed the sitter right on half-time. They had lots and lots of attacking intent. China were panicking. They weren't bad work, China, and they were dangerous themselves, but the defence creaked and did a great job. And then China missed a penalty, which was, it was glad to be Thailand's night when your opponent's at home for a penalty 10 yards over the bar. But for some unfathomable reason, they sat back and invited pressure and dishes substitutions. He's got Tirison on the bench. The one guy who's got the guile to create, so he doesn't bring him on. And he takes Super Chai off, who was the one outlet that was holding the ball up all the time. As soon as he went off, it was coming straight back at them. They invited pressure. There was a spell where they very nearly could have lost it. And for some reason, then after that, the last 10 minutes, they attacked and should have won. So what was he playing at, Dale?
I have seen a few negative comments on Twitter, pretty much backing up what you just said. A few question marks against him now, aren't there? His selection and his tactics, and obviously his substitutions. We are recording this before the game against Singapore, so we could do one of two things here. We could just gloss over it as quickly and say, let's hope that they've won the game. Or we could pretend, we could record two versions, one where we're really happy celebrating a Thai victory and qualification, and one where we're really miserable. One thing I will say is I'm surprised that the two games aren't kicking off simultaneously.
It's madness, isn't it? Absolute madness. If ever there was a bookie involved in a game, that's his opportunity.
And it wouldn't be that difficult to do, would it? A 6 p.m. kickoff in Bangkok and an 8 p.m. kickoff in Seoul. It's not as if we're dealing with a massive time difference.
No, it's very poor from FIFA. I thought they were better than that.
But anyway, hopefully when you're listening to this, we have qualified.
What a boost it'd be. Let's hope so.
So, anything else?
Transfers, mate. There's been a lot of transfers. What do you make of them?
Yeah, it's been a busy old week, hasn't it, on the transfer front? I think Thai Port have outlined their intentions. A couple of big signings there. I think Willen Motta is huge. I think he'll be a success down there. He's clearly someone who knows where the net is, and he's probably going to the right place.
He certainly impresses me more than Dambua.
Yeah, that's a strange one, isn't it? Maybe they've seen something in him that nobody else has.
I like that discreet line that you were using for Nakon for Tom last week.
It's one of my favourites, that.
And Chombury, Charlie Clough, wow.
Yeah, that's a great signing, isn't it? And again, a sign of intent from the club. To get somebody of that calibre and that classy to drop down a division is a huge coup, I think, for the club. And congratulations to all involved. I think Sintavichai was probably heavily involved in getting him to come. Again, that's one of the advantages of having a well-respected former international player as your team manager. I guess he's got the connections and people want to come and play for him.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you did a Nakon Ratchasima and went straight back up. It might be a reset for the club, Dale. Once you start winning, fans return.
We've got to hope that's the case. As you know, I've been saying for a while, I think I still, and I stick to my guns here, I still think that relegation was deliberate. I still think they wanted to go down. Maybe it was a case of just being able to reset kind of away from the spotlight of T1.
I think you're going to be all right down there. I mean, the experienced guys like Charlie Clough will help the youngsters.
Let's hope so. I don't want to stay out of that top division for too long.
No, indeed. I'm not just saying it because you're a Chombury fan. T1 needs clubs like Chombury.
Thank you. And clubs like Chombury need T1.
Well, indeed.
Right, anything else before we go?
I think I'm all right, Dale. I can see the bar slowly opening. I think my presence is being felt.
I better let you get off then and have a drink. I'm going to have another cup of tea before I go to work. So think of me when you're on your third pint, up to my knees in paperwork.
I can't have too many because we're flying back tomorrow and I'm responsible for a couple of 70-year-olds.
Yeah, you don't want to be losing elderly relatives at the airport. So, have a great week, and we've got the cup finals to look forward to next weekend.
Yes, up for the cup.